Today's lesson is 4A.4, angle, side, angle, 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 side, and 4 false shortcuts. Let's go ahead and get started with the fourth shortcut that we can use to say that two triangles are congruent, which is angle, side, angle. It looks like this. It looks like ASA, but we say angle, side, angle. And it says if there are two angles, and the included side of one triangle are congruent to two angles, and the included side of another triangle, then my two triangles are congruent. Let's go ahead and take a look at the picture, and let's just remind ourselves what this word included means. So let's start with our angles. We're going to go ahead and see that in the first triangle, I have the angle at A marked and the angle at B marked. And then I see that the side AB is marked. Notice how the side is right between the two angles. Notice they go right in a row, angle, then side, then angle, from whichever direction you start. So if you start at A, you see angle, side, angle. And if you start at B, you see angle, side, angle. You see the marks in order. Okay, remember an angle mark is always curved in the corner, and a side mark is always a straight slash. Let's go ahead and look at this in the other triangle as well. So notice you have an angle at D, the angle at F, and the side right between them. This is what included means. I should be able to highlight, and with one highlight, I should be able to mark both of them. So let's go ahead and, or all three of them. So there we go. All three of them are in that blue highlighter. All three of them are in that blue highlighter. This is what included means. Okay, let me take those off. And let's go ahead and say that I can use my congruent statement to say that triangle ABC, remember the first one you can name however you choose. The second one, you must follow the same order. So start at A, and I went to B, and then I ended at C. So I need to find A's match in the other triangle, and that would be D, so I would put D. Then I need to go to B's match, which is F, and then of course the last letter would go next. So let's go ahead and put that D, F, E, and they would be congruent by angle, side, angle. I'm reading it in order what I see. Angle, then a side, then an angle. Angle, then a side, then an angle. All right, the next, our fifth and final shortcut is angle. Uh-oh, that's not right. Oh no. This isn't right, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to go ahead and fix this before class, but it's not angle, side, angle again. So let me go ahead and cross this off on the video. Our last one is angle, angle, side. This is correct. Yep, this part is correct over here. It's just this part. So angle, angle, side. So it's angle, angle, side. There we go. Angle, angle, side is our last one. And it says, excuse me, if I have two angles and a non-included side of one triangle are congruent to two angles and the corresponding non-included side in another triangle, then my two triangles are congruent. So let's talk about what this word non-included means, because we saw that twice, non-included. So this is very similar to, remember we talked about included means we're right between, we can highlight them all together. Non-included would mean if they are not all side by side, they are not all straight in a row, they are not grouped together. Someone is left out of the group. If I were to highlight, they would be outside of the highlighting. So let's go ahead and take a look. So in my first triangle, I see angle A and angle B are marked congruent once again, and then I see that side AC is marked. Notice, if I were to highlight, I could get the two angles together, or I could get the angle and the side together, but notice I have two different highlighters, right? I did two different strokes and none of them are all in the same group. Somebody's always left out. Either this angle is left out to this one or this side is left out of that one. This is non-included. This is non-included. So let me get rid of those and let's see it one more time. In the other triangle, I have angle D and angle F again, and I see side DE is marked this time. Once again, these two leave out the side. These two leave out angle F. This is non-included. I see two different ones and somebody's getting left out here with this one or here with that one. All right, now I can go ahead and say that triangle, let's go ahead and call it CAB, is congruent to triangle. And remember, you want to watch to see how you did it. So I started at C, that means I have to start at E. I went to A, so I'm going to come down to D, and then I went, of course, to B, so I would come over to F. So I would go E, D, F, by, and if I were to read it, I see a side, then an angle, then an angle. I can't put the S in the beginning. I need to recognize that I have two A's and an S, and that the S is not next to, is not between the two A's. So I would actually start reading it from here. Angle, angle, side is how I would read it. There's no real true way of how to read it. A lot of people look at this one and think of it as side, angle, angle, and you can't do that. You can put the A's and the S's like I have right here, but you have to recognize that the S is not here, which is angle, side, angle. The S is up here only next to this A, so this is angle, angle, side. Angle, angle, side. All right. Now, there are some false shortcuts. You might be thinking, well, I can put the letters A and S together in different ways, miss. There's two other ways that you can put them together that you might be thinking of. And the first one is probably A, A for angle, angle, angle. This does not work. You cannot do it. It just does not work. It's not going to make the triangles lock into place and be exactly congruent. Remember, to be congruent, we have to be exactly the same size and exactly the same shape. You're going to get the same shape, but you're not going to get the same size. I could have two different triangles, both with the same degrees, but the sides would be different lengths, and so then they would not be congruent. So angle, angle, angle does not work for congruence. You need at least a minimum of one side, like you saw in the other two shortcuts today, to lock that triangle into position so that they are exactly the same size, the length of the sides. The other one that you can't do, and some people do it one way, some people do it the other way. I'm just going to go ahead and do it because I know you're thinking it. Angle, side, side it doesn't work, ladies and gentlemen. It won't work. It's a bad word, and that's not why it doesn't work. But it just doesn't work. If you have an angle that is non-included between the two sides, your triangle does this thing where it doesn't lock into place, and you can't get the sides to be the same lengths in both of my triangles. So you can show me your sass, but you can't show me your ass, ladies and gentlemen. Um, yeah, you can use sass. You can put that angle in between, you can put that angle in between the two sides, but you can't have it only next to one side. So let me show you what that would look like. I know you could see what um, angle would look like. You can't have marked this angle and then this side and this side. That angle needs to be right here for this to be congruent to another triangle. Since the triangle is only here, we run into that thing that we just talked about. You're leaving out, oops, you're leaving out this side. So non-included does not work, but included does. Included does. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at some examples. So just like last time, we're going to see where you can tell me if the triangles are congruent. How are they congruent? Today we're going to be using angle, side, angle, and angle, angle, side, and then to write a conditional statement. Once again, it's very important that you go ahead and grab a piece of paper and draw the pictures and mark them. It's so much easier to see angle, side, angle if it's marked. Okay, it's so much easier to see angle, side, angle if you have the paper marked. All right, so in, in picture one, I can see that I have an angle here at W and an angle here at Y. Remember, when we mark an angle, they're a curve. I see this side VW at the top, congruent to this side ZY at the bottom. Now, remember from when we talked in the last class, during class, you have to be looking for hidden information in your picture. And two things that I'm going to hide in the picture and that Alex will hide in your picture are vertical angles and reflexive sides. Those are going to get hidden in your picture. Now, remember, reflexive sides look like a triangle with a shared side. So I made one big triangle and then I split it into two by having this side in the middle. I'm never going to mark that side in the middle as congruent. You're going to have to be able to see it. Vertical angles are crisscross triangles like so, and the vertical angles are here and here. When the triangles will touch each other, but only at one vertex. All right, so that being said, as I look at number one, I see vertical angles at X at the top. Remember, you're going to have to call it VXW, and X in the bottom triangle, which I would call ZXY. I'm going to go ahead and say that yes, the triangles are congruent. And I'm going to go ahead and call the first one VWX on the top. And remember, just follow the same pattern I did. V would match Z. I went to W, so you would go to Y, and then I went to X, so you would come to X for the other one. So it was Z, Y, X. By, let's take a look. Let's take a look. I see two angles and I see a side. So is it angle, angle, side, or is it angle, side, angle? Well, let's take a look. I see a side, I see an angle, I see an angle. Where's the side? Is it here between the two letter A's? No, it's all by itself. So this is angle, angle, side. Okay, angle, angle, side. You could also grab your highlighter and highlight. Are all three of them in there? No. Are all three of them in there? No, this is angle, angle, side. All right, let's take a look at another one. Oh, they're being sneaky in the next one. I see angle S to angle S, angle U to angle U. These are not congruence marks. These are parallel marks. So I'm going to come back to those in just a minute. I see the reflexive side that we talked about. Sorry about that. I see the reflexive side that we talked about. Remember, that's one of the things that I can hide. I can hide the vertical. Here I hid vertical angles. Here I'm hiding the reflexive side. Okay. Now, what I'm also hiding in this last one are the parallels. Okay, these do not tell me that we're equal, RU and ST, but it tells me that I have another set of equal angles. Parallel marks on a triangle are going to give you equal angles. So you can always go back and look at the proof flow chart that I added to the third 9 weeks folder. And or maybe yesterday's last time's assignment, Tuesday, Thursday or Friday's assignment. But anyways, the angle pair flow chart is going to let you know that I have two parallel lines with a transversal, meaning this angle here at U and this angle here at S are alternate interiors. It also means that this angle is congruent to this angle because they are alternate interiors. So I'm going to go ahead and mark that, and I'm going to write down that it's because they're alternate interior angles. That's going to come in handy when you do the proof. Now I can go ahead and I can say triangle RUS is congruent to angle, let's see, T RUSU. I had to be careful there. R and T matched up, but when I went to U in this triangle, I had to go to S in this one. So just be careful. Let's go ahead and look at them. Let's go ahead and look at them. If I were to grab my highlighter, take a look at this. Everybody is in that highlighting. Let me make it a little bit bigger. Both of them. All the angles, all four of the angles and that reflexive side is in that highlighting. This is angle, side, angle. This is angle, side, angle. Everybody's in that one highlighter where they weren't in over here. I can come back. Oops. Ooh, thought I still had my highlighter. I can come back over here and I can see that only two are in that one. Only two are in that one. That's not enough. Oh, shoot. Sorry, guys. There we go. Let me go back and add my angle, side, angle. All right, I've got two more to do with you, and then of course we have our exit ticket at the end. So here's my next one, triangles in 3. I can see that I have a side, I have a side, I have an angle which happens to be 90 degrees, and I have an angle which happens to be 90 degrees. Now my brain is already thinking back to the last lesson and that this is HL, but remember you have to find that hidden part. And in this case, my hidden part are my vertical angles here at C. If I scroll back up or you rewind the video, you'll see that this number 3 looks a lot like number 1, and I have those vertical angles, okay? Number 3 looks more like number 1 and less like number 2. Nope. Okay. Now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to look at what I have, and I'm going to grab my highlighter because I can see that I have an angle, a side, and an angle. Well, I can already tell you what it is. And it doesn't matter which triangle you do it in. I can already tell you what it is, but I'm just going to make sure with my highlighter that I am correct. So I'm going to go like this, I thought it was angle, side, angle because the S was in between, and I'm correct because when I highlight the top, everybody's in that same highlighting. If I were to highlight the bottom, everybody's in the same highlighting. So I know that these two triangles are congruent by, and I'm going to go ahead and put it already, angle, side, angle. They tried to trick me. They tried to make me think that this was a hypotenuse leg by using a right triangle, but I'm smarter than that. All right, so I named the first triangle ABC, and so are you, by the way. EDC, you are smarter than that too. There we go. All right, last one. I'm going to go ahead and mark, mark, mark. That's the best thing to do whenever you get a picture. So draw it somewhere, sketch it out. It doesn't have to be perfect, and then mark what is the same. If you're really struggling, go ahead and draw them separated. Draw them as two separate triangles. Sometimes that helps. I'm going to scroll back up to 1 and 2 because these are what my two hidden pieces are going to look like. Does number 4 look like this? Nope. Does number 4 look like this? Yes. And the part that I'm looking for is this. It has it right there as well. So I have that reflexive side here in number 4. So let's go ahead and put that. And I'm going to go ahead for your Alex assignment purposes. It's because we have a reflexive side. Okay. My triangles should now be congruent. I have an angle, and I have a side. Some of you probably already know what the property is, what the congruence property is, but I'm going to go ahead and name them. I'm going to name it CED. Okay, so that would mean I would name it FED, and they are congruent by, let me see, angle, angle, side. The S is outside, so I'm going to go ahead and say it's angle, angle, side, AAS, but I'm going to grab my highlighter just to check. The side is left out. The angle at C is left out. This is angle, side, angle. Because when I highlight here, I can see that the side is left out. It's non-included. All right. The last example, number 5, I'm going to help you just a bit with it. I'm going to help you by marking it for you, and then I'm going to let you go over and complete your exit ticket. So some things that I see right off the bat, I see that 90 degrees. Of course, I'm really thinking that it's HL this time. But remember, they tried to trick me before. And then I see the two sides, one in each of the triangles. Now I'm going to scroll back up and I'm just going to see, does it look like number 1 or does it look like number 2? Or I could even just scroll up, does it look like number 3 or does it look like number 4? And as I can see, it looks more like this. It looks more like this. It has a reflexive side in it. So let's come back down here and let's grab that reflexive side. There it is. And that's just for your proof purposes in Alex. Okay, so now I have everything I need. Yes, these two triangles are congruent. I'm going to name the top one FGJ is congruent to triangle, then it would be HJG by, and I want you guys to figure it out. I'm going to give you an extra little hint. It's either going to be angle, side, angle, or it's going to be angle, angle, side, because those are the two that we talked about today. Oops, why did that happen? But I probably threw on there some other ones from yesterday into your exit ticket. Good luck, guys.